look away from the train wreck. You can blame it on the tech, on the disrespect. Before they play, you better button check. Button check.
What is up, Button Check family? Welcome back to yet again a beautiful day of buttons that need to be checked. Thank you guys for tuning in one more time. It is Sunday, weekend is here. We done still made it. Chapters are still down below, and of course that sub button is right there on the race to 70K. We got some hot ones, some that just popped off yesterday. So without further ado, we're about to unpack it all. Let's go. All right, now into them first set of we made a mistake and we apologize. The pros was the ones complaining the most. Buttons that need to be checked. We talking about Harada. We talking about the Tekken devs. They did a Tekken Talk. I think just yesterday they got into some serious shit. A lot of like big changes coming up, and a lot of stuff they were transparent. A lot of people reacting some type of way. We's about to unpack it all. So there's chapters down below because I think there's like 3 or 4 different parts of this. Link down below so you can catch the full stream or the full episode for yourself. This is all subtitles because of course they were speaking different language. For those not watching the video and just listening, I'm gonna be translating for y'all. Let's go. They said they wanted to make Tekken 8 feel fresh. The keyword being aggressive. A fun battle system focused on the offense. Up until this point, Tekken has been mostly defense. And regarding to making it fresh, on one hand, because offense plays strong, it feels the game leans more a little too much towards the offense. On one part, I feel there's still too much to be worked on, or still much to be worked on. There are both good and bad sides to this, but I think we're able to freshen up the part within the system. Alongside making a game where attacking is strong, by memorizing attack patterns, there's an aspect of anyone having fun and improving. There's a good number of new players that are beginning with Tekken 8. There's also a lot of players at various events that started with Tekken. But everyone at the Master Cup we participated in the other day, there was a lot of young participants we never saw before competing. Murray says there was a lot of women. We also looked at the title after a year, and there were places we succeeded. I gather there are a lot of things to address going into Season 2. We don't really intend on changing the aggressive nature of the game where it's fun to be the aggressor. But on the other hand, Season 1, because it was constraining for defensive players, the heat system made it easy to make matches pretty one-sided. In terms of strategy, I feel we weren't able to balance the defense aspects that well. That's why Season 2 we would like to focus on defense in terms of lateral aspects of a 3D fighting game. And the ease of defending when being attacked. The heat system is starting point and factor in which your attacks can really get explosive. Theories got created of how players or characters should win into a certain degree. Harada says battle strategy theories. He was like, yes, it's correct that people theorize these things. In order to expand upon Season 2, we're doing a particular thing. When you're in heat state and taking a lot of damage on the ground, we're adding the ability to recover about 30% health from the actual damage inflicted. In doing so, you now have the strategy of fighting while preserving your heat gauge. Up until now, the correct action when activate heat was either to heat smash or to rush down your opponent utilizing the unique individual power-up properties of heat. But by pressing heat strategies are expanded upon, or preserving heat strategies, allowing you to fight more advantageous ways in neutral compared to when you're not using heat. Also this time, the number of characters that are not able to heat burst and heat smash from their special stances as well, or that are now able to do that. And by doing this, you now have strategies where you can use heat bursts that stop an opponent's attack by utilizing stances. If we change the way people activate their heat burst, we can expand the way players utilize heat to attack.
攻めていくか。
There it is. So that is the first part. We're talking about the heat burst, how they don't necessarily want to change the fact that it's so strong offensively, but they figured, I guess the defensive side was struggling a little bit. Tekken has always had, very strong defense, so they kind of want to do more to bring that back, adding more balance. There's a debate that the FGC kind of talks about this. We'll cover this at the end of this here, but they get even deeper. Let's check it out. Right here saying, of course, there was other characters aside from Anna with strong crouching game that would suffer since they couldn't crouch.
しゃがみを選べないことで、自分の強みを生かした攻めができなかったっていう点を生かせる。
To remedy that, we made so players can now crouch. Murray says, I think the thing people don't understand is when you're creating a game, you have a solid key concept. If you don't uphold that, the game won't be interesting. Harada says, yeah, so we don't have to waver from aggressive. In doing so, it guarantees a degree of fun. There are places where it might be unfair. So rather than tossing your concept and just fix whatever unfairness is, basically fixing, nerfing, or reducing the frequency whenever it is unfair. Harada says it's not 0 and 1s. People think it's as simple as 0 and 1. Harada says, like, we believe that we have a good balance, but nothing in the world goes that well. Whichever you raise, the other drops. Should you raise both, it ends up being half-baked. And you end up losing a good aspects. Whichever you raise, the other needs to drop. When you look at reactions regarding Tekken 8 and where it changes most, a lot of the negative feedback surprisingly came from the veterans. Much of the dissatisfaction surprisingly came from people who had been with the series for a long time. Conversely, there are people who thought Tekken 8, for example, where Tekken 8 was easy for new players, like completely different. People are able to overcome a wall and find it interesting and end up liking the structure of Tekken 8. That's why they say Tekken 8 is interesting. And then, in regards to strategy balance, if we try to balance it more towards the preference of the veterans, of course, satisfaction of the people who originally found Tekken interesting will drop. It's quite a trade-off here. But all things considered, we see how much an aspect might be too extreme. And honestly, balance while monitoring. The subject of where not very simple, or it's not very simple, and is super minute in the degree, rather minute in the adjustments that are made. Harada continues saying, when you look at results from esports in the game of the season 1, Murray says, yeah, we talked about this. We're expecting unknown people to pop up. Harada says there's a rise in people that weren't able to be active until now, even unknown people, but conversely, in the end, people are skilled to go to high ranks. They end up climbing ranks, but the characters that win are in the top 8 characters are actually quite scattered. Especially with 7, people and veterans most likely would question certain characters or players kept winning. People like veterans that complained are actually the ones who got the best resolution in 8. Based on the result, 8 seems to be, for them, another interesting thing. Veterans mostly also complain about how they don't really like the new system. The inconsistency is kind of funny. It stands out in what doesn't. We do our best to see that everything comes to a fine balance. But looking at the results from esports, it seems good and going the way we imagined it. Murray said, I spoke to this with Akatsu-san, and the thing that makes the game a good product is that people that have never played Tekken and start from Tekken 8 have the feeling of, if I actually try, I can win. He said, obviously, they're not going to beat Mishima Star Harada's like, yes, they're likely not going to win against veterans. Veterans are a veteran for a reason. Okay, and there we have it. Damn, we got deep. So that's interesting. They're talking about the fine-tuning of pleasing the veterans because they're like, yo, our veterans were the ones that complained the most. But we have these newcomers that are enjoying the game. So now you kind of got this age-old debate, right? Of like Street Fighter implementing fucking modern controls and all that, trying to slowly make the game appeal to the masses, more popular, sell more copies, right? But still kind of appeal to the core. Because I think that's what MK has done all these years. They appeal to the masses. They do all that shit. You see them getting fucking flamed in the FGC all the time, but in the end, how much does it matter? In the end, how much does it really matter to the company if they're one of the highest selling products ever? They're making their bread. So how much do they really need the FGC? But it seems on the flip side, with Capcom and Tekken, or Bandai, they actually care. They're actually ingrained with the esports scene and the FGC. So it seems like they actually do pay attention more so in NRS from what I'm picking up throughout the years. So they're like, yo, we want to do the masses, we need to do the masses, but at the same time, we are listening to try to find a new balance. Right here saying, in order to buff the defense aspect and improve a point that didn't make sense for new players, we made it so people can move sideways while crouching. Characters can move better to respond to attacks. Strengthening a defense movement, those are changes we're adding. Murray says, it wasn't intentional, but rather a technical limitation. Harada says, yes, we are sorry. We wanted to make it that way, but it was difficult then. He says, yes, it required engineering and would take time, so we couldn't do it at the time. Based on the players would create strategies. Harada says, right, it became a strategy within Tekken. Murray says, for example, Kazuya's axe kick, they can't move from the foreground, so they're like, I'll do this instead. They say, yes, by adding the option to move sideways, it improves the defense aspect, allowing players on the receiving end to test new players against their opponent's attack, or to test new plays. For attackers, they need to figure out how to adapt to that in the new field of strategy. Harada says there'll be a lot of situations where it won't be 50-50. That is what's up. That's what people were talking about too, the transparency. They were like, yo, they actually just admitted they made a mistake. They were like, we wanted to do that, but it was like a script limitation. We didn't either have time or we couldn't do it at the time. We apologize, we were sorry, this was not intentional. Interesting, right? And like I said, we'll get to some of these reactions after. I think we have just one more clip and then we get to the reactions. Let's go. Okay, adjustment point, but in season 2, I wanted to make it easier for people like beginners to understand. Oh, this is another one, y'all. So as the first Tekken series, as in the first ever in Tekken series, you'll see like combo count, counter hit, and punish mid-battle. Harada said things like that only were in practice. He said when people actually see pop-ups like pretty big damage combo, I was able to counter here. In the first time that you can see the visual changes during battle. I was kind of worried that it might make it bother or clutter to some, and I thought maybe we shouldn't go through with the plan. But we actually released it and it was pretty easy after all. Even when I'm playing, it feels good to know that punish works. That's why I liked it. Harada says I was pretty obstinate about that and said, don't you dare put that in. Harada said, me and Komodo-san hated that. We hated it. The change to display numbers itself. He says, no, it becomes everything. He continues saying, we basically wanted players to think about it themselves by not displaying numbers. As for combos, you can see how large the combo can get. You controlled by high or low, combos can get. So conversely, we felt that it was more interesting even if you didn't know those values. But recently, the thing that changed since back then is there's a lot of people watching streams and they want to know what is happening. Addition to experience the same feeling as playing from home have increased. And the times were different compared to now. We really want to show people how interesting the analog Tekken was. That's why I said no, but this time I'm open about it. He says, yes, that's really big. And there you have it. They put in the text on the screen. That's what the FGC is talking about as well. I know some people think it's taken away from the, I guess, the whole beauty that is the difficulty of Tekken, because that was the whole, everybody always said Tekken was the chess of the FGC. There were so many purists out there of, the FGC that was always like, this may be this and this may be popular, but Tekken was special because Tekken was that game that required true skill. How many times have you heard that? Tekken was the game or is the game that requires the really true skill, that it was the hardest of them all. So adding details like this, some people, especially the pros, might feel some type of way that it's kind of taken away from that essence. FGC's reacting. Let's go. First of all, there's YouTube right here saying it's really weird seeing a developer acknowledge the mistakes they made. You never see this happen in first-person shooters. Very good video. Even the clips used to show the points were very good. Others say I appreciated how they took the time to elaborate their points, such as we get a clear idea of where they're coming from. Their communication was pretty solid. Then from there, I believe we go to Twitter or X, where they're saying, okay, do people even know how to read or see Tekken and immediately doom post? They are giving Heat more diversity, utility, and now being in a Heat state gives you damage reduction. So you might not use Heat Smash or Heat Dash because you want to keep the damage reduction. Please learn how to read. I guess they're posting to the people that are talking shit. Others are like, I love this change, especially when the punish message mid-match. It helps so much learning matchup on the fly. That's a feature I always appreciated when playing other fighting games. Also, I hadn't considered the viewer experience. I can imagine new players asking, what does punish mean? And the streamer being able to introduce that. But others are like, keep that in Guilty Gear, man. There's no way you think text on Tekken during gameplay is good. I even see PhiDX saying, I personally prefer the minimal Tekken UI. From a competitive standpoint though, I wonder if CH confirms will be easier with the text notification. Continuing on saying, it's probably a good change for new players who are learning, but one of the highest level skills in Tekken is closely watching an opponent's micro movements. In replays analysis, many high level players remove as much UI as possible to remove distractions and watch the characters. It could be fine, I might just be old. And there you have it. PhiDX talking about it could be fine, or I could just be an old head. You know what I'm saying? Keeping it real, because there's a lot of purists, like I said, or if you want to call them old heads, that are like, it was the way it was. You know, even Harada was saying, like, I was totally against it. Completely. I didn't want it to just become all of that. People be obsessed that. I wanted to keep that uniqueness and skill level and whatnot. But now, times is different. It's going to help new players, especially people watching streams, figuring out. Now the streamer could introduce them to Tekken better, strategies, and you know, the meta and whatnot. So people are more open-minded. FGC still conflicted. I'm seeing some good posts. Obviously, you just saw them right there. But you're also gonna see that other side. Hell, I just remember the other day, this is the next set of buttons right here. Michael Murray posted something where Tekken was trying to even go deeper. They took a poll. They were like, yo, we were thinking about, how do you guys wanna see new DLC reveals? Do you wanna just let you know all up front who it's gonna be? That way we just cut a lot of the bullshit out the way? Or do you want us to be traditional with it? Then he made like 2 more updated posts, something like that. FGC kind of feeling some type of way. Let's check it out. Right here, he posted this last month saying, per Tekken Talk Live, do you want the characters in the whole season ahead of time in just simple concept sketches, or like the current big reveals at EVO, etc.? 64% no ahead of time. It almost has 1,000, or it does have 1,000 likes, y'all. No ahead of time. Post again the next month, this month, saying, I think that most people understand this, but the poll was because we want to know people's thoughts so we can develop multi-year strategy. It's not just vote yes, and we'll release all the upcoming characters' names in a PowerPoint slide next month. And then down here, he said, sooner probably yes. Everything all at once at this moment, probably not. FGC pissed off, saying, just say you hate the customers, bro. Or what was the point? You could have been a bit more specific. And then you see others right here adding as well, saying, disappointed, no personal flash, but this is your last shot to make this game a 10-year game. If season 2 flops, it is over. Too much people will leave. Others agree with that, right here saying, almost like you're enjoying torturing your customers. People are leaving the game and you're doing absolutely opposite of what players want consistently. I'm not talking about the poll, it's everything. 1.5 years with no balance, and I swear, season 2 only has 1 shot, and somebody else says, why not? If Capcom can for Street Fighter 6, why not Tekken? That it is, ladies and gents. Devin, let me know how you are feeling. We got a lot. Tekken devs are coming at us, man. I feel like, you know, it's kind of like the same thing with Tekken and Street Fighter 6. The community is very high spoken about Street Fighter 6. One of the hypest launches ever. People are like, this is the game that's going to change the FGC. Esports is bigger than ever in the FGC, but there's a lot of pros like, y'all need to make some changes. Y'all need to make some big changes, whether it's drive rush, throw loops, probably the biggest one. Perfect parry, I know Punk has been really outspoken on that one, but like, please make these changes. If not, scale the damage or do something, right? We feel like the game is either lackluster, one-sided, random, or it's kind of, these things are kind of ruining the game, for lack of a better term. Now, when you go to the Tekken side, it seems like the community is kind of along similar lines. A lot of the pros saying the similar things, but at least on this side, you also see the devs, you know, being transparent and like, yo, we're working on this. We're trying to give you a better experience. It does feel, let me know if you guys agree with this or not, but it does feel like Bandai, Harada and them are down with the FGC. It does. To me, it always has, right? That they are here. They are at the fucking tournaments. Who was it the other day? Somebody, oh man, I can't remember. Charge it to my head and not my heart. But they were like, yo, fucking Harada will fly across seas and be at Combo Breaker or be at a tournament, right? But Ed Boon won't be at Combo Breaker or whatever, and it's in his fucking city. So, damn, I can't remember who said that. I got it. I don't know how I forgot. Tom Brady. Tom Brady, very outspoken, you know, in the MK scene, literally made that comment, and I had never thought about it like that. And that's not necessarily me trying to dog Ed Boon or anything like that, but that was the first time I thought about that, when he was like, yo, you never see these guys there, but fucking Harada is everywhere. So there you have it, man. At the end of the day, looks like the devs are trying, and then you have Michael Murray with the poll. Looks like people were getting hype, and then they got pissed because they're like, wait a minute, what was the point? You could have worded it better. We got our hopes up, and now you're talking about like down the line, years from now, and they're getting pissed. I think that's kind of a Twitter or X thing, you know what I'm saying? Miscommunication, possibly a miss, but how y'all feeling at the end of the day? Let me know. That it is, ladies and gents. Thank you guys for the amazing love. We will see you soon. More than likely, we will see you tomorrow. Hope you are enjoying this weekend. We are back at it tomorrow. Another full week of checking these buttons, man. I really appreciate it. We're trying to end this month real strong, man. We got some special stuff coming up. It is my son's 21st birthday in a couple of days, man. So we got to figure out to do something on my side. Then it's your boy's birthday a week after that. And then I got family coming from out of town. It's a lot going on. Like I said, we are finishing this month very strong. So thank you for the amazing love. I will see you soon. Oh, and I got an update. Remember that video I just dropped yesterday? When half of it, the second half was me apologizing to the Dominican Republic, right? If you saw it, you know what's up. I talked to the young man. Well, he's probably my age, but I talked to James, the guy in question. We're good. We're all good. We had some laughs. He emailed me afterwards. He said, you know, I gotta go. I got a week's worth of button check to catch up on. That's what's up. We good, yeah. And I just love that we were able to talk about it like men. You know what I'm saying? Like grown-ups at the end of the day. So it's all love. Thank you guys for the amazing something. Why would I say that? Either way, what I'm trying to say is I don't know what it is, but I know it's about to get better. Love y'all, fella. Peace.
Blah, blah, blah. Subscribe.
All I can think about is like, there ain't no God. Like, he don't exist. Hey, where you going?
I'm gonna show you God does exist.